Hello everyone, welcome back to Tiny Bunny. No longer the prologue, now the actual game. I did play through the first episode, so I'm gonna speed through that again. I'll only keep it in if there's something new, something that didn't happen in the prologue that was added later, and then we'll pick it up at episode 2. I'll see you there in a moment.
Сколько раз говорила, не читай за столом, вредно. Сидишь, сутулился весь.
Holy shit! Okay, now they have full voice acting in Russian, not English. So they're gonna speak Russian, but I'm still gonna have to read it in English. Okay, yeah. Meet you guys, soon. Okay, guys. I'm back at this choice. I still don't know why I should take the mitten. So I'm still debating whether I should take it now or not. Do I want to really change that? Yeah, actually, I think I'm gonna take it. I decided to take the lonely mitten from the branch. Ugh. A lot of shadow monsters around, screaming Vova. Oh, it's so fucking creepy. A shout rumbled across the field and dissolved into the distance. No echo, no hope for a reply. Oh. It didn't budge. I pulled harder, the branch cracked and the mitten tore off, landing in my hand with a squishy sound, all too heavy, wet. I squeezed it without thinking and something dark spilled from it, forming a tiny string between the mitten and the snow. Steam rose from the snow pile. I froze in place, studying my hands, my palms, in disgust. Red. The sound of cracking branches invaded the silence. I didn't have to think twice before running away. Someone was chasing me from the darkness, breaking pine branches, closing the distance with giant leaps. This cutscene is now following everything the same as last time, so I'll meet you back at the house. Well, some detective I am. In reality, I wasn't risking my life among monsters, but rather my pants among a pack of stupid strays. And for what? What use do I have for this? Mitten. Of course! A dark and sticky mitten that belonged to the lost boy made a squishy sound in my hand. Seems like I was clutching it the whole time. That's my trump card as a detective. I hurried to present this clue to my mom.
Мам, смотри, это Вовина варежка.
Mom, look, this is Vova's mitten.
Ну того, про которого утром милиция спрашивала.
That boy the police were looking or asking about in the morning.
Она вся в крови, на дереве висела. Вон там, могу показать.
It's drenched in blood. I found it hanging on a tree. I can show where.
Давай в милицию скорее позвоним, как нас участковый просил.
Let's call the police right away, like the officer has told us to.
Мам, гляди.
Mom, look.
Фу.
Ew. A shadow of doubt slowly crept onto Mom's contorted face, as if she was trying to remember something distant, like someone tries to remember their dream, but the images slip away.
А ну-ка прекрати сейчас же.
Stop it this
Оля тебя
moment.
услышит, с ума сойдет.
Olya will go insane if she hears
Она и так не
you.
спит. На все подряд жалуется.
She already has trouble sleeping and whines all the time. I'm gonna continue reading this. I am gonna turn off the voice acting, because it's in Russian. It does nothing for me. And you joke around like this. At that moment, I realized the mitten was actually wet from snow. There was no blood whatsoever. I wanted to sink through the floor from embarrassment. Come here, my boy who cried wolf. Come take your pills. Happy pills. Okay, we've seen this as well. I'm not gonna do the videotape thing. That shit was scary as fuck, and I don't think it would help me in any way. Okay. Episode 2. Time to play with you. Oh, that's so creepy, man. I am worried about this. And I don't think I'm gonna play the entirety of episode 2 in this video. I think I'm gonna take some time and actually save the game. Make a couple videos instead of just freaking myself out for an hour and a half. Like, this episode 2 might be even, like, way longer than the first episode, I'm not sure. But yeah, the only thing I did differently was I took the mitten, I turned off the voice acting. I just don't see the point in Russian voice acting that's gonna that I'm gonna have to wait for to then speak in English. And yeah. Okay, let's get into it, I guess. New school, new teachers, and most importantly, new classmates who I always have trouble connecting with. Like most other kids with glasses, probably. I feel you, buddy. I forced myself to get out of my warm bed. Dad would usually drive me to my old school, but this morning the bedroom of my parents was silent. Did they sleep in? Maybe it was a good thing. I didn't want to get the daddy's boy reputation from day one. My parents were probably still tucked in, dreaming about the good old days when everything was so simple and easy. Sweet dreams, even if far removed from reality. I silently sneaked out to the first floor so I wouldn't wake up anybody, especially the peacefully sleeping Olya. I did my best to step into the middle of every floorboard. I used to play like this even in our old apartment. If my soles touched the space between the floorboards, it counted as stepping into lava. The clock was spurring me on with its hands. I need to hurry, faster, faster. I was too fast, so I needed to circle the hallway once again. Boiling lava was bursting out of the cracks between the floorboards. I need to watch my step to survive at any cost. Hippity-hop like a frog jumping on molehills, like a fearful bunny in a grove full of wolves. I made a sandwich in the kitchen, shoved it down my throat, and drank it down with cold tea. I will say there's definitely also more sounds, just in general. There's more sound design, and there's a bit more art. My appetite was as good as of someone being led up the scaffold towards a guillotine. What kid thinks like this? I lowered my gaze and saw that one of my feet was standing on two floorboards at the same time. Burned to a crisp, huh? I moved my foot. Disgusting little snakes writhed in my belly. The fear of getting hit and called nasty names. The clock clicked. I need to go. It was dark outside, fitting for an early winter morning. The darkness never fully left the houses around here. Took my time tying my shoes, buttoning up the puffy down jacket. I'm suppose this is like buttoning down my puffy jacket, trying to delay my unpleasant exit into the semi-dark, into the unnerving unknown. Honestly, so far this reminds me a lot of going to school here, because in the wintertime and like early spring, it would often snow in a lot, like very deep snow. And school for us started at 7 a.m. and I would need to walk to school, so I would be waking up at like 6, sometimes 5:30, and it would be totally dark outside, and there's just like untouched snow, and it was kind of beautiful, but also kind of shit, like having to walk through all of that every single morning during winter time. I rubbed my glasses for good luck, though I couldn't remember a single time these thick pieces of glass brought me any good fortune. Oh, that's spooky. The sky was akin to a giant bruise. On the east side of it, a black cloud was swelling up. It licked upstairs from the sky and extinguished the rising sun. Darkness was plastered all over the treetops. The cautious cries of birds got tangled up in the thicket. I locked the front door with a long key that I wore around my neck. My parents made me wear the noose, afraid that I, being a ditto little klutz I am, would lose the key otherwise. The wind whizzed on the other side of the gate. It invited me into my new life towards dubious adventures, and tagged alone like an old buddy pushing me in the back. Wide shadows that pines throughout covered a third of the clearing. Oh, the sounds are awesome. Upon reaching the edge of the forest, I hid my nose in the coat's collar. I was squeezing through the thin firebreak, my hair roughed up, my back hunched over. Tall trees stood on both sides of the tiny trail. Snowy blanket rustled under my feet, and the canopy of intertwined branches above my head cut me off from the already sparse starlight. The night had no plans of moving away from the forest. In this darkness, trees reminded me of shaggy old women that smelled of burial earth. Their trunks turned into cracked, wrinkled faces, with holes in the middle as their mouths. If I lost focus even for a moment, mold-covered witches would drag me into the forest depths. Then my parents would be walking around these parts screaming my name. But the dead can't answer the living. Fuck off, Grandma. Or can they? A sense of panic was growing in my chest. I was fine with Dad carrying me into the school in his hands by now if it saved me from watching the darkness rise up in the ravines like black dough. It felt like someone jumped into the bushes behind me, so I turned around. As soon as I started walking faster, I heard the snow squeak behind me. The forest took a deep breath with its giant lungs. The windfall cracked. The wind and the birds were left behind in the field. Now I can only hear the forest creak. I walked, listening closely as the unseen presence grew stronger, as if someone was following me, trying to match the pace of my footsteps. I turned my head so fast it made my neck crunch. A tiny trail behind me disappeared into the darkness. Tree branches overlapped, forming a natural tunnel. "Who's there?" The question escaped my lips and dissolved into the unending crackling sound of the wooden idols, the pines around me. Why did I think going through the forest alone was a good idea? I'm either going mad, or someone had intentionally lured me away from home. Distant lights granted me a smidgen of hope. A country road. Take me home. I ran there as fast as I could, as if afraid that the trail will shrink. Clawed hands will grip me by the shoulders, turn me around, and make me look at the faces of hungry forest denizens. In the end, nobody stopped me. I almost flew to the decrepit wooden bridge, disbelieving my luck. The bridge support bathed in a spring, tarry and ice cold. I put my hands on my knees and looked up at the forest, then snorted, trying to calm my breathing. The thicket was pretending to be asleep. It looked peaceful, lifeless. The remaining part of my commute led through a snow-laden road illuminated by sparse lamplights. Wow. Oh, this is very, very my morning is going to school. A few more houses because, yeah, living in a populated area, but yeah. I chased away bad thoughts and ran as fast as I could, from one circle of light to another, seeking protection from electric lamps. Just like in that game, where you need to be the first to proclaim, "I'm protected." It's just in this case that protection was flimsy at best, with darkness writhing outside its bounds. Oh wow. Then I noticed something remarkably eerie. In a place where the light from an inclined lamp couldn't reach, a hairy, crooked shadow came alive with a guttural roar. It almost felt like its features deterred light. Its unnatural pose instilled fear. I hate the fucking chomping sounds, ew. My eyes almost popped out of their sockets as I just stood there, blinking, trying to chase away that illusion. Whoa. But the shadow didn't disappear and even got closer. My insides were gripped with horror. I stepped back and almost fell into a snow pile. The black silhouette, on the other hand, straightened up and addressed me in a sweet voice. "Sneaking around, huh? Trying to steal my soul?" Words got stuck in my throat. Who could be talking in such a silky voice here, between the forest and the dormant village? "Will you say something, dummy? A cat got your tongue? All right, I'll bite off your nose then. That'll teach you not to poke it in places it doesn't belong." A girl stood before me, judging from the voice and the silhouette. But I couldn't even reprimand myself from getting scared by a girl. before noticing a gaping mouth under her hood with something dangerously shiny inside. I was stunned. From the cavity of her hood, a frighteningly real fox face was staring straight at me. It's just her jaws weren't moving and her eyes weren't blinking. A mask. It's just a girl with a fox mask on. At least I wanted to think that. After a surprise like that, a nervous smile involuntarily crept onto my face. I was just going to school and then you... What about me? Never seen a fox feed a dog? And indeed, there was a small dog circling the girl's legs. One of the strays that were chasing me yesterday, probably. What? This is a tiny dog. Those looked like really big strays. Sorry, I didn't mean to. After hearing my voice, the dog whimpered, lowered its ears, sniffed me out, and then started wagging its tail. I guess I still smelled of bologna that I ate for breakfast. I was shifting my gaze back and forth from the dog to the girl. She didn't seem scary anymore, just weird. So you didn't mean to, huh? What's your name? I'm Anton. And you? And I'm not. She's weird, definitely has a couple loose screws. But she has a nice voice. Those do not look like human eyes, my dude. My astonishment has turned to a mix of happiness and relief. This girl, I don't know, was definitely human, if a bit eccentric. I was also a bit angry at myself. This foxy girl was walking through the darkness without problem, and I shuddered from every little sound. I could just walk away, but this girl had piqued my interest. The next time a police officer asks me about my friends at the new place, I'll tell them I befriended a talking fox. Do you live around here? In the village? The fox giggled and purred. She spun around so hard the hem of her coat lifted up. No, Demi. Foxes don't live in villages. So you live in the forest, then? Have you been living under a rock? It's obvious that foxes can't survive anywhere near humans. As long as they're foxes. Her jokes were also weird. Just like her carnival mask, paper mache with fur glued onto it. A dog reminded us of its existence with a loud bark. I unfastened my backpack. Dad would sometimes throw food in there without my knowledge, cookies, apples, or even my favorite crab sticks. He called it a gift from the bunny. Ugh. The stray strolled toward me with menacing footsteps, with a pleading look in its eyes. The fox definitely treated to something, but it was probably still hungry. Why are you dressed like this so early in the morning? Going to a costume party? The girl shrugged, throwing silvery snowflakes off her nose, and her human form along with them, turning into a genuine beast. A real fox. Agile, cunning, dangerous. A moment of hesitation and you'll be ripped to shreds. She'll tear you up and gulp you down without breaking a sweat. I couldn't help but just stand there as a stump. That is not a normal voice, my dude! Until I heard her call melodic laughter hidden underneath the beastly mask. I wish you could have seen your own mask, sweetie. Did she just say sweetie? I got embarrassed. Went right up to my hair roots. We'd seen a fox in a zoo once, when we went there with my dad. But it had patchy fur, was gray and skinny. This girl was fiery colored and furry, just like in the fairy tales. I was still rummaging through my backpack. My fingers that were searching for the dog's treat stumbled upon some soft, crumpled object. You'll see. The real beasts will wake up soon. You should ask them where they got their human faces. The girl's shadow was dancing in the lamp's light. The dog yapped in agreement. I freaked out and dropped my finding in the snow without getting a proper chance to examine it. Cold wind instantly covered the hole it created with the snow. The dog rushed to dig it out, wanting to get its treat. And the fox just snorted. Now I was so embarrassed I wanted to sink through the snow. It was still dark outside of the electric circle. On the contrary, the darkness seemed even more thick. All neighboring houses were sleeping deeply in its inkiness. I did my best to continue the conversation with the weird girl I don't know. So, are you going to school? Oh my, you are a real dummy. Don't you get it? Well, I was trying to be friendly, but she can't stop mocking me, calling me a dummy and all. I should have just moved along without paying any more attention to this weirdo and her stupid dog. Why are you so mean? Don't answer if you don't want to. It's not like I care. Still, something froze me in place, tugged me toward the dark figure. A mysterious appearance, her voice that was velvety and just languid enough. I was intrigued and excited. I watched her as people watch fires burn. Oh, stop pouting. Look here. Zulka took a liking to you. The dog was digging through snow with sharp movements, snoring loudly. The fox turned around and looked at the windows of a nearby house, as its timbered front through the white mist. I feel like there's a word missing in that sentence. The tip of her fake nose was shining under the lamp's light. And maybe someone else too. I went red again, like a boiled crayfish this time. Is she talking about herself or someone else? I hoped that the semi-dark would be able to hide my embarrassment from the girl. I cleared my throat before asking, "And who's that person?" I waited, counting my heartbeat. The fox didn't reply. Her sly stare was scanning the frosty patterns of someone's windows. She was reading them like a glass book. I wonder what she can see in those winter paintings. The stray stopped rummaging through the snow. It ran to me, holding an object in its jaws, a mitten. Could it be the one I found in the forest? What is it doing here? When I took a closer look, I realized that it was just my mitten. Maybe Mom stuffed it in here when I was asleep. A certain missing boy immediately came to mind. Hey, do you know anything about Vova? I imagined the scene, silhouettes dancing in the clearing. The dance on the night when Vova had disappeared. A boy who, when found, can provide a big reward and maybe save my family. I remembered my birthday when our parents promised to take me and Olya to Disneyland in Paris. But instead of a long-anticipated gift, they gave me a simple brick game console, visibly embarrassed. Tetris. I was crying my eyes out back then, demanding them to take me to the promised amusement park. This was the first time my mom and dad had a big fight. My greediness shattered their relationship. Oh, kid, no. If only I could fix everything, gather everybody I love and take them to Disneyland. On the night Vova disappeared, I think I saw someone looking like you dancing under my window. It couldn't be true, but I felt like her mask become even more sly. The fox was sniffing me out. Oh, that got you worried? For yourself or for someone else? Olya, as soon as I thought about my sister, my chest tightened, and cold sweat streamed down my spine. Well then, listen closely, a boy named Anton. This is a big and scary forest. The fox girl stepped forward menacingly. And I'm not its only tenant. The other beasts already know about you. Beware, we'll come again tonight. I shouldn't have talked to this evil in child form, I thought, panicking. When you and your parents will be fast asleep, we'll sneak really close and dance Macarena. Huh? Hey, Macarena. Look at you, your mouth agape, Antosha. He saw me near his window at night. Yeah, right. Are you by chance a dimwit? Nobody would let me go outside that late. Children go missing here, you know. I touched the plastic frame of my glasses, puzzled by her silly joke. She got me scared to death. Hey, why don't you stop fondling your glasses? I was also nearsighted once. Listen to me and maybe you'll become smarter. Remember, what did they call foxes? Cunning? My words seemed to hurt her. Hey, what did you... Sorry. Her laughter was akin to a jingle of a pair of silver bells. Just pulling your leg. Of course we're cunning. If you're agile and brave enough to befriend a cunning fox, I'll help you look for your vulva. There's a reason why you're doing it, right? I shrugged in reply. Her insight was alarming. I know why children have been swarming our forest recently. Sometimes you can find a lot of interesting stuff there. One day I saw a huge pile of candy, and I swam in it until my jaws cramped. A pile of candy? I couldn't deduce whether she believed in what she was saying from the tone of her voice. I showed her another smile, a fake one this time. Boo, so wary. She held out her hand in a furry mitten. There was an assortment of sweets in her palm. In the city where I used to live, sweets like these were sold at markets and in kiosks. I saw my favorite bubblegum in a vivid wrapper amongst the tasty treasure. A familiar name was on it, Turbo. A triangular fox face poked her nose toward me. Take some! My pockets are full of these. I'll take some. I accepted a treat and catching a whiff of the girl's smell. Fur, fireworks, citrus, the smell of holidays. My finger tingled as I carefully was unwrapping the gum. Peachy aroma entered my nostrils, and something else. Something unfamiliar but pleasant. Oh, no. The fruity cube ended up in my mouth. I started moving my molars chewing the gum. It tasted like your usual Turkish gum, only my tongue went a bit numb. I couldn't believe my luck after opening the insert. I looked at a Mercedes-Benz, an extremely rare and hence desirable collector's item for any boy from my previous neighborhood. My heart skipped a beat. I was barely able to tear my eyes off the insert, still stunned. This is... Now do you see what can be found in the forest? Still, I wouldn't go there alone if I were you. You get so flustered over a simple bubblegum after all. Imagine what would happen if you find a travel case worth of these. It will surely blow your mind. Unusual treats, just like everything else about her. Oh, that's creepy. I carefully hid the insert in my bag, as if I was putting a rare butterfly in a can. The fox giggled. That's not how things are supposed to go on Monday mornings. Who are you? I refrained from asking that question. She wouldn't answer anyway or should just lie. I really wanted to see what was behind her mask. I was becoming more and more sure that underneath it wasn't just a simple young girl. What if Vulva also found a snow pile with sweets in it and is now rolling in it? Actually, what if he decided to stay in the forest? He must be so cold without his second mitten then. The wind caught her words like smoke from a fire and carried them deep into the darkness, into the creepy thicket. The trees behind me creaked with their bony branches. Or what if something happened to him along the way? Something terrible. The forest reacted to her words, became alive. It sniffed me out, perking up its ears, just like a curious beast. The fox girl pieced me with her eyes again. Wild beasts? You find that scary? Well, I don't know. He doesn't know. Oh my, have I befriended a dunce? I don't like being called a dunce, yet being friends with her sounded nice. My grades are good. Really now. Will you come with me? Good grades, Anton? We'll find your vulva, and you'll be able to ask him what he found deep in the forest. As long as you're with me, nothing could hurt you in the forest. You'll see. Worms of worry writhed in my belly. Better run, whispered my mind. I don't believe you. Do you take me for a liar? Whatever, you're just like everybody else. The girl sounded hurt, although I don't know if she was genuine about it. She turned around, as if she had immediately lost all interest in me. The gum felt bitter now. I remember my dad's favorite saying, "Where are your manners, son?" Indeed, this fox was kind to me. Please don't get mad. Foxes can also be nice, like in fairy tales. I just need to know what kind of fox you are. The girl giggled, hiding the nose of her mask in her hands. Then follow me to the forest, and you'll get to know me. But not right now, when it gets bright. I mean, your whole body is shaking, you poor thing. I don't want you to get a stroke. Hey, let me accompany you to school. After hearing this, the dog barked in agreement and stopped messing with that mitten. I leaned in, trying to grab the piece of handwear that almost ran away from me. Well, if we're going in the same direction. We went toward the school and the lost dawn. Here and there, the lights came on in the windows of houses we passed, as if their inhabitants were sending us warning signs. Silhouettes lurked behind curtains. Dogs let out occasional barks. Spirals of gray smoke rose from the chimneys. TVs bustled and dishes clanged in kitchens. We watched the village slowly rise from its slumber, while carefully treading the snowy wheeled trails. I walked in the left one, and she took the right one. The dog was following right behind us. I expected this fox to bring up something weird again, but she stayed silent all the way to the school, as if playing with me, some game only she was privy to. She would only giggle from time to time when the dog sneezed from snowflakes that fell on its nose. I was the first to break the silence. So what's your name? Here it comes. Names, names, names. You people always need to put labels on everything. What name would you give to a fox like me? I don't know. But I've read about Alyssa the fox. You know what? I don't mind. I'll be Elisa. I couldn't understand if she was joking or not. I turned around as if looking for an answer from the dog, in the dark sky devoid of dawn. My silent questions were left unanswered. The school's outline was already in our sight. A giant brick box stuck in the endless night. This looks a lot like my high school, except my high school does not look this new. Lights on its windows didn't bode well for me. The warden trees were guarding the school yard. Screams, childish laughter, and someone's whistling tore up the silence. I went here with my mom when we just moved, and the place looked cozy at the time. Empty corridors that smelled of polish, puffy snow outside. The second time I came alone to get the books and just kept on imagining my peers rolling down the railings, grade schoolers running to the library, and teachers marching down the corridor with the air of self-importance around them. High schoolers were smoking at the entrance, in track pants and wool caps, perched on their foreheads. Their appearance destroyed the last hopes of a cozy school. Their stingy eyes and the teeth yellow from nicotine, their smirks, all of it had the same gloomy effect as the cloudy winter morning. Absorbed by my thoughts, I completely forgot about my companion. I'll wait for you at the backyard after school. Near the hanged man. Near what? She just ignored my question. Don't be late. I hesitated. Blowing hot and cold again. Mom always said that when I would have trouble choosing between two options. Thinking about Mom helped me reply. I'm going straight home after school. Well, Antosha, I'm going to let you off the hook. But the others will creep up to you with their smiles and sink their teeth into you. Won't be able to shake them off as easily. Remember my words. The fox opened her mouth in a wide yawn. What kind of trick is this? Someone running in the distance called out my name. I instinctively turned around. A huge snowball whizzed past my shoulder and hit the dog. It whimpered and ran away towards the spring. The darkness devoured it. The fox girl was also nowhere to be seen. She dissolved into frosty air. Or was she hiding in my shadow? I gulped and swallowed the gum. Unlucky. After taking a deep breath, I went toward the school, towards the cutlets and dough, toward the light raining down onto the snow. There was a fresh-looking Volga parked nearby, with one of its front wheels perched up on the icy curb. Black like soot, as if it was straight out of the horror story Dad loved to tell me when we hid in the attic during a thunderstorm. I remember him always wearing a sad smile when mentioning the black car that snatched children. He would say, "It looks like a funeral car on the inside, white curtains and all. And it has a DSC in its license plate. Do you know what that means? Death to Soviet children." Funny, I was born in the USSR too. Whose nest is this, I wonder? A thieving magpie? Then it probably has all sorts of shiny things in it. Pieces of colored glass, bottle caps, polished coins, or child braces. A tall man was standing near the gate, puffing out clouds of smoke into the wind. He didn't look like a teacher. Was he a PE guy, maybe? I carefully studied his face, that it looked like it was cut from a piece of granite. And his hair lip was holding down a cigarette. Sometimes the text doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think it's, some things get lost in translation. He was playing around with car keys and staring back at us. The light from the cigarette was reflected in his eyes, that were sitting deep in my eye sockets. I froze in place. The hulking man lazily tore off his eyes from us and walked toward the road. Okay, I think I looked at everything. Oh, I didn't look at the kids yet. A buzzing crowd of upperclassmen with their winter hats tipped to the side. I'd better not draw their attention. Okay. I think I am going to enter the school, but then probably end it soon after that. I could hear muffled voices behind the doors. Saw blinking lamps. Darkness creeped along the windows, and it felt like the school was drifting in open space, like a lonely lost spaceship. After going up to the second floor, I noticed a crowd around the notice board. Everyone was taking part in a lively discussion. I moved closer and took a look at something everyone was interested in through a wall of backpacks. There was a piece of paper with something printed on it glued to the left of the notice board. Attention, child missing. Vova, 10 years old. Grade 4B. He left his home on January the 5th around 4 o'clock and never returned. Was last seen at the bridge over the Smorodina River. He was wearing an orange coat with a hood, a black wool cap, a scarf, and mittens with green stripes. I'm just looking at how some words are bolded and some are not. Might have had a plastic toy gun with him. 142 centimeters tall, skinny, brown hair, green eyes. Please call these numbers if you have information on what was whereabouts. Child missing. That was his name, a 4th grader. On that grainy print, Vova looked dead with a black mouth and dark, empty eye sockets. Could it be that the darkness dwelling in deep in the forest invaded his pores and mutilated his face? A plastic toy gun couldn't protect him from the whispering branches and the howling wind. Empty eyes of the lost boy pierced through my soul as if pleading. Unable to meet his stare, I turned around and rushed to the window. Took a seat on the windowsill. The corridor was slowly filling up with children, in groups of a few. Nobody paid me any mind. In the darkness of school toilets, child voices were hammering a nursery rhyme. For the fox and for the bear, bunny tasty meals prepare. I turned my head toward them, trying to get a better look at their features, but then my attention was stolen by a loud clicking sound. A female teacher marched down the corridor with her chin raised up high. Her heels were hitting the floor like miniature hooves. A girl was trailing her every step. She was also looking pompous, stopping along the way and whispering some secret in her friend's ear. She was probably a class rep since she was carrying an attendance register book. Ekaterina, take this, please. The teacher opened the classroom door and the crowd of children swarmed in, screaming and pushing. Out of all of them, a tall, red-headed fat boy caught my attention. His face was full of blisters. He looked like the insides of a pomegranate. That's very fucking mean, dude. A bad feeling risen up on the hair of the back of my head. I've seen boys like him before. Unsettled eyes, cackling laughter. The girl, who was a smaller copy of the teacher, warned the boy with a wave of her hand and entered the room through the clearing of the crowd. If that's not a fox, then I don't know. Like, it's either that girl or it's like an actual, like, fox being. Some other guy stood in the way of the crowd and the redhead immediately shoved him. Move your legs, moron. The boy flew headfirst, flailing his hands, trying to keep his balance. The fatso burst out laughing, and a couple of kids joined his nasty cackling. Their laughter sounded like someone was snipping with huge garden scissors. The classroom sucked all the kids in. The corridor stood empty. I wanted to grow roots and stay out the windowsill. Those look like little penises in the snow. Just a handful of lampposts outside were battling the darkness, writhing like fluorescent fish in the black ocean. Maybe I can still run away. Go outside, dissolve in the dark. I imagined myself running through snow, how it squeaks under my boot, and how I'm becoming lighter and lighter with every step. The ringer's trill blew that illusion away. Tore myself from the window with great effort, then took a couple of deep breaths, trying to at least calm down my mad pulse, and entered the classroom. The prim teacher looked at me over the frame of her glasses, clearly annoyed. I'm the transfer student. I was told to come here. The snowy forest trail was winding in front of my eyes. The pines rustled, but it didn't sound predatory anymore. She buried herself in the register and flicked through the pages. Your last name? Petrov. Huh? What are you mumbling there? Say it clearly. Petrov. You're not on the list? She measured me with long and heavy stare, as if trying to see if I was lying. I wanted to sink through the floor. Hazy faces observed all of that from the left. The classroom breathed and snorted in unison, like a living organism, like a dangerous beast. Are you sure? I don't have you in my register. My knees chose the worst time to start shaking, and I felt dizzy. I clutched my fist so hard my knuckles became white. They told me to come to classroom 204 and ask for Lila Pavlovna, class 6C. Apparently everyone in the class took my words for some sort of joke because they were all laughing. What is wrong with this school? The classroom fell silent. The kid hid their smirks for a better occasion. Why do we hire so many interns? They all know how to put lipstick all over their bulging lips, but when it comes to real problems, I have to solve everything. How did they send you here without any proper paperwork? Ugh, we've had this same thing happen so many times already. Wait here, I'll be back. After I have a little chat with them. The teacher flew past me, mumbling something to herself in righteous anger, and I was left standing at the center of the classroom. Okay, well, I'm gonna leave this episode here. Excited to see where this goes. I really hope you guys are as into it as I am. The atmosphere this game has is incredible. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. It would mean a lot to me, and I'll see you super soon for the next part. Bye for now.